What's up, everyone? It's Kanan.
It's Jessie.
And we are the Geeky Saying Couple, and welcome to our analysis of RWBY Volume 9, Chapter 8. Probably one of the most uncomfortable and darkest chapters ever in the history of RWBY. Me and Jess want to get this over with because we really don't want to revisit this chapter again for a while.
No, having to go back through it again for screenshots was enough.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. In our reaction, I was so ready to be done with the reaction that I said, we're going to try and do our analysis tonight. And I'm like, why did I say that? I'm such an idiot. It's going to take Jess a while to get all the screenshots. Plus, we had to wait on the transcripts provided by, once again, Zwei Dog Ruby. Thank you very much for the transcripts. It makes these so much easier. Since this goes up before the reaction, I did lose my cool a little bit during one particular moment in this episode. Yeah, just to let you, I'll talk about it when we get there. So as always, if you enjoy our content, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, click that like button, leave a comment. I should be getting my new PC very soon, so yay. Alright, so this episode starts, before this right here, we do see from Ruby's perspective, she's got a little bit of tunnel vision going on, a little bit of blurry vision as well. That's kind of to be expected in the kind of mindset that Ruby is currently in. Like, she is literally having a full-blown breakdown. I don't think she went very far from the Paper Pleasers village, because she's still in the village of Paper. Forest of Paper. So yeah, Ruby is running through it. She she sits against a tree and just, like, she's still very much upset. I think she just wants to be alone right now. But of course, she is not alone. Little is with her, and Little is like, Ruby, what are you doing? Why did you shout at everyone like that? Which, this look that Ruby gives Little, it's like, it's just not Ruby at all anymore at this point. Like, Ruby has almost become a shell of who she used to be. It's really sad, because we've gone all these years with these characters that, you do end up caring for them in a lot of ways. So, I'm sure a lot of people, see Ruby as a baby that they want to protect, and that's what makes this episode that much harder. But Ruby asks, where am I? Little's like, it's okay, I can guide us back. You shouldn't run off, though. You all need to stick together if you want to go home. Ruby asks, why are you still here? And Little's like, what? I promised. Then Ruby right here says, I promised to serve Atlas as a huntress, that I'd keep people safe, that I'd be there for my friends. Which, the way she says it, it's very monotone in a way. Like, there's not much emotion besides, like, anger and, like, maybe even a little bit of self-hate here. But then Little's like, but we can go back, and Ruby screams, no, you don't know what I've done, what I couldn't do. I can't do this. I could never do this. A lot of I. Once again, Ruby's shouldering all of it. Even though her teammates and friends were all there, supposed to be shouldering it all themselves as well, Ruby is putting it all on herself. And poor Little, holding their tail, and Ruby says, if you stay with me, you're going to end up dead too. Just go home. Lil says, but and she literally screams at Little and says, I said go, and it's sad. It's a very sad scene.
I couldn't really show it just because I was shocked. I mean, with last episode and this, I mean, I was getting mad with Ruby, like how she's being, but I understand that side of it too. I mean, looking back at myself when I've acted not so much verbally this way, but like in anger because I'm feeling like everything's my fault, I get mad at myself even. So I understand both sides. So it's normal to feel like angry at her even though you know what she's going through. Like, you know, you want her to snap out of it is all you want. You want her to come back to herself at least a little bit, but
And so Ruby,
it made me so sad.
yeah, Ruby leaves Little behind, and it's also more sad because Little even said in chapter 2, I believe, that Little doesn't know how to go back home. They've never been this far away from home. So, is it abandoning a little bit? Maybe, but we learn later that Little doesn't listen to Ruby. So Ruby pretty much ends up walking into darkness, pretty much, and we see the glowing blue butterfly again. And I believe since the episode has aired, people have tried to find any kind of symbolism for a glowing blue butterfly, but nothing was found. So we've seen this blue butterfly before. We've seen it throughout the volume, but we've also seen a blue butterfly in other volumes. We saw one in volume 6 when Maria was training Ruby a bit when they were in Argus. So there is something about a butterfly with Ruby at this point. Could it be, a symbol of a new beginning? Because when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly.
Yeah, that butterflies have a lot of different meanings and significance. I mean, most know that I've got if they've seen I've got a butterfly on my arm, it does signify like loved ones as well. But there's more than just that meaning. But we've seen this through there. The only other form of a butterfly I can see outside of Ruby, was Life is Strange. But I mean, it had context too, but there's no like tie to a blue butterfly to anything. So I've searched too, and I'm not coming up with a definite answer because there's multiple reasons a butterfly can exist around you.
Yeah. So we just see Ruby walking through this darkness with like a spotlight on her. It kind of gives you Ruby alone vibes, kind of. And then this right here, and I'm like, she's walking from what we saw in the past episode, from the light side over to the dark side, which could be seen as a form of symbolism in a way if you want to. But this is what she finds. We're definitely in the dark side because it's raining. It was raining when Neo arrived in Ever After. But the fact that this screams Neo, and
pink and white,
and Ruby literally walks in. She literally walks into this place. But, Ruby is so lost that she's throwing any kind of caution to the wind.
And the thing is when she walks in and she sees what she does, I mean, she knows what she's going after at this point. Once she sees that, she knows what she's going after. Yeah.
So we see some pictures that give definite relation to Neo's backstory. If you read Roman Holiday, you know exactly what all this is about. This shows Neo with her parents when she was still Trivia Vanille. And then, of course, the one over to the right is her with Roman and her dead parents. Because, yeah, that does happen in the book. Here we see Trivia with her parents.
I had a thought on something.
What?
In the book, did it say her mother's name?
I think it did, but I do not remember it. Like, the book's right there, but it's been so long. But we see, Neo and Cinder at Salem's throne, pretty much. That was inside the well. I didn't know. I did say in the credits that I actually thought this was really good art of Cinder. She looks kind of good here. But yeah, we see that, and then of course we see Neo with Roman, and
I try to get a shot of where you could at least see the feet and them.
Yeah.
Because it was a scrolling shot. So.
And of course, the picture comes alive. Roman, is like, uh, hello, Red. It's been so long since we've heard that. Now, of course, in the reaction, I was actually kind of shocked that it was the painting that came alive. Sadly, we were spoiled by the thumbnail that Roman was going to be in this episode. But Ruby gasps, and she is able to hold Crescent Rose. So, I mean, that's the first time, really, in the entire volume now that she's actually fully engaged it, yeah. But Roman says, been a while. How's the hero biz treating you? I gotta say, you're not looking too good. Dang, you skipped a lot.
Well, it was him talking, and because they're literally the next ones that you see.
So RWBY says, where's Neo? Roman says, yeesh, no manners. And after everyone came out to see you. And I did pop at this because not only do we get to see Penny again, but as you can see, we get to see Pyrrha in the new engine. I wish it was actually Pyrrha, but sadly it is not. But Penny says, salutations, Ruby. Pyrrha says hello again. Ozpin is there. He says, Miss Rose. Ironwood's there. Why don't you take a seat? And Ruby's like completely freaked out. She's like, how is she doing this? And everyone starts, it's really creepy. I do not know why Leo is there.
It's because he's dead too. So,
yeah, but it's like him and Clover both weren't exactly close to Ruby or anything.
No, but I mean, out of anyone, Clover, he spent the most time around her versus, I mean, Leo really didn't. I mean, but he did play a significance, so I can see why.
Yeah, I guess who else would they put there? Adam? Like, that wouldn't have made no sense. If it was Blake or Yang, maybe. But, yeah, this was creepy. This is where things really started getting creepy. But Ruby says, stop this. This isn't real. Roman says, isn't real. You're the one following a talking cat around a fairy tale. Reality's getting fuzzier by the minute, kid. Then says, once Neo realized where she was, everything changed. Always loved the idea of a place to run away from it all. Do whatever you want. I offered that to her back on Remnant. But we all remember how that ended. And Ruby is like, see, was this before or after Ruby started talking?
This is when she started talking, because he walked away,
Okay. But that's when it finally dawns on Ruby. Is that seriously what this is all about? You still blame me for what happened to Torchwick? You're now... Ruby says, you're looking for an apology. You've wasted your time. So,
not the correct words.
No, definitely not. Especially when you are alone and surrounded by what's obviously Neo clones. Or, you know what I mean. So, yeah, like Ruby's kind of being a little destructive here. She doesn't say anything about how it was a Grimm that killed Roman, that it was not her that actually killed him. Yeah, she just leaves that completely out. Then Roman says, they say everything thinks they're the hero of their own story, but I knew what I was, and deep down I think you know what you are too. Now we see that Little did indeed follow Ruby, which at this time I was fearing for Little. But yeah, Little did follow Ruby.
And the look on Little's face, they know something's wrong. Like, this isn't right. Like, to their eyes.
And yeah, then of course we see, that these are all illusions created by Neo, which was kind of creepy. The music here was really, really, like, it's like Tea Party for the Dead, or with the dead in a way, but it's also like, it's the Mad Tea Party, pretty much, with Neo as the Mad Hatter, pretty much. But then, of course, we've seen these leaves almost throughout the entire volume. And Ruby is like the leaves from the tree, and Roman's like, "Oh, you're familiar. How about a little reset?" Is which we'll get to in a sec. But this was really cool. I think this was really nicely animated. The little like sparkly liquid and all that. But Ruby's like, "Is that what you want? Well, if you want me dead, then come and get me." Once again, not the right words to say. But then Roman says, "You don't deserve to die, Red. You deserve to be broken down, torn apart, wiped from existence. I'm going to," and then everyone says, "enjoy watching you break." And that's, of course, when Neo finally makes herself known and attacks Ruby, which Ruby is actually using Crescent Rose. So that is at least Ruby has gotten to a point where she can at least try to defend herself. So yeah, little nice, and then of course Roman attacks Ruby. It's really wild that these illusions are able to actually physically attack somebody, which we've known for a long time, but I think that's why a lot of people have always had kind of a question mark on Neo's semblance, because it's kind of OP in a way, to the point where it's broken. But yeah, everyone who loves Roman and Neo together got their little taste here, and like, once again, creepy. Yeah, very, very creepy. And so we finally get to see a little bit of Weiss, Blake, Yang, and Jean. They're, of course, looking for Ruby. You hear Jean call for Ruby first, then Weiss. And Yang has a little bit of frustration here. She says, "Damn it." Yang really likes saying "damn it" a lot this volume. How could she just run off like that? Now, Yang is not mad that Ruby ran off per se. She's not like frustrated about that. I think she's frustrated that Ruby ran off. How am I trying to word this? She's not annoyed that Ruby ran off. She's worried. Because Ruby is clearly not okay. And really, with Neo being out there, plus other dangers that could be in the Ever After that they don't even know about yet, Ruby's really not in the right state of mind to properly defend herself. But yeah, Yang's not upset. She's not annoyed that Ruby ran away. She's worried about her little sister. Of course, we do get a little bit of Bumblebee here of, Blake being the comforting girlfriend, saying she was clearly upset, and Yang's like, "That wasn't upset. That was," and she is just frustrated. She could have just talked to us. Now, once again, as always, Weiss kind of being the voice of reason in a lot of ways. Maybe she didn't feel like she could. Ruby has always been the one to get us through the hard times. We say things like, "We believe in you. We can count on you. I know we mean well, but..." And that's the thing kind of that we're getting to here, is that have they over depended on Ruby? You can say yes in a lot of ways, and what they're trying to say is that they never meant to real. It's hard to put in the correct words right on the spot. They never meant to make Ruby feel like she was doing this all on her own. Like, you never do that on purpose. But with everything that happened, Ruby started to think that way. And Yang says it's not like we're asking her to be perfect, which sadly in a kind of way contradicts herself because of what she said at the beginning of Volume 8. The whole, "Ruby, we followed your lead and it's not went well." But that's what I love about these characters, is that they are not perfect. They are flawed. They make mistakes. They do contradict themselves. Real people do that all the time. So that's one of the reasons why I do love the writing of RWBY. It's relatable, because they try their best to portray these characters as human as possible. They're not perfect. They're not Mary Sue's. They're not overpowered. They fail really more times than they succeed in a lot of ways. That's one thing that makes RWBY such a dark show, is that the characters are kind of getting their butts handed to them most of the time instead of actually getting W's. But then they hear gunfire, which I was hoping was a good thing because it means they're close by. But poor RWBY is fighting all of these illusions on her own. Which Ironwood says, "Who did you think you..." I think that's wrongly translated, but who do you think you are? Thinking you knew it was best for Atlas. Sounds like something Ironwood would say. Pyrrha, I was the best and brightest Beacon had to offer, but I traded my life so my friends could live. Okay, so this is definitely the difference between what Neo is trying to do and the real Pyrrha. What did the mysterious lady in Volume 6 say? Pyrrha would not have regretted her choice. This is Neo trying to make RWBY feel guilty for Pyrrha's death and Pyrrha blaming RWBY for it pretty much, which is far from who Pyrrha was. And then we hear Penny say, "Just like you were too late to save me at the..." Oh, wait, no. That happens later. But anyway, RWBY's aura broke like really easily here. I think that is a combination of her just not sleeping well, the fact that all of this, all the events of Volume 9, all of Volume 8, and the end of Volume 7 has literally been over the course of a few days. So yeah, I don't think... When everyone else slept, I don't think RWBY did. So she gets cut off from Crescent Rose by Penny's swords, of course, and here's where the low blow really happened. Just like you were too late to save me at the Vital Festival, I died in Atlas too, didn't I? Can you imagine what that's like? To be completely and utterly failed time and again by someone who meant the world to you. And RWBY is so heartbroken she can't even speak. I do know that since this episode has aired, the Nuts and Dolts shippers were kind of like clapping while they were crying. Because to them, this is like, this is kind of maybe a little bit of confirmation that RWBY maybe did love Penny, but who knows if we will ever fully know. But we don't really have time to really stay heartbroken over that, because Roman comes up behind RWBY and chokes her with his cane, still ready for that drink yet. And that's where it really got to me, that oh my gosh, Neo is literally breaking her down so she will... things I can't say on YouTube. It was, oh my gosh. Pyrrha says, "How many more people are going to die because of you?" And Little is watching all of this in horror. And RWBY says, "I'm trying to save everyone." Ironwood also attacks her and says, "And it is all your best intentions. Have you ever stopped to wonder if you've done more harm than good?" Which is... seriously, from the guy who almost committed genocide, that's kind of rich coming. But then again, this is Neo just trying to guilt her. RWBY tries to say it's not my fault, and then, of course, we have Ozpin, of all people, beating her with his cane, saying, "How many more lives do you have to ruin before you realize you're not cut out to save anyone?" Now, of course, once again, this is Neo. This is not Ozpin speaking, but it's kind of cliche. Well, not cliche. It's kind of funny that they're having this come from Ozpin, who is really the cause of all of this. Because him and his ex had because he died, his ex couldn't move on from him. And so she tried to rebel against the gods. That went poorly. She became immortal. They brought him back.
And now he's stuck in an endless curse but the thing is and he didn't give any information, the extra key information, to anybody.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's, he's the one that put Ruby in this situation. He's the one that let her come to Beacon. He's the one that selected her as the leader. And of course, he saw that she had silver eyes. That went into that as well. They're literally having the guy who is really the reason why Ruby is here in the first place say this. Of course, it paints Ozpin in a very bad light, but we have to remember this is still Neo. Ruby says no, slashes at Ozpin with Crescent Rose, and what do you know? The illusion has turned into Oscar. Just like the Nuts and Bolts shippers, the Rose Garden shippers, exploded at this. Oscar just says Ruby and falls dead. There's a pool of blood. And then, of course, the other illusions start turning into her team members, her sister, Jean, Nora, Ren, Crow. It's just, she is continuously trying to just put Ruby in the worst headspace even more. Roman continues, do you really think you can stand to watch more of your friends fall? Ruby begs, please stop. And Roman says, or are you ready to admit the truth, that the world would just be better off without you? And then, of course, you have Neo walk over, placing the teacup in front of Ruby, which is really messed up. It's not anything good at all. And then all of a sudden, you think Ruby is saved because the cat shows up and just yeets Neo completely out of the mansion. Like, Neo is
I caught that face because it was so quick you didn't really notice it when we watched that. Even she's shocked by the cat being there.
Yep.
So I know there was a lot of theories before this episode that after 6, when the cat left, that he was gonna go find Neo and they were gonna go find Neo and use it against them. When obviously it's clearly the opposite here. Like, I don't think Neo would have anything to do with that cat.
Yeah. And when the cat speaks, they say it's all right, Ruby. It's over now. It's kind of like if a flashbang went off in a way. Her hearing is like echoed in a way. And to me, this is probably one of the most heartbreaking moments. Ruby says, I'm sorry. I don't want to be me anymore. And it's just...
I captured because it makes you think that they're trying to comfort.
Yeah, the cat paws at her and gets on top of her, but no, the cat is indeed a villain. The cat says, it's okay, little huntress, I can be you instead. I've been trying to wear you down for so long. And the cat literally digs its paws, not like physically, it's melds them into Ruby. Ruby screams, saying, what are you doing? And the cat says, my purpose. When a poor little heart is broken, I can fill it with mine, which they did that to the Red Prince. They did that with her, the herbalist, So now we know the cat's true intentions. I'm afraid I haven't been entirely honest with you, Ruby. I'm not like the other Afterans here. I'm cursed with curiosity. I need to know everything, but more than anything, I need to know why my makers left me here only to leave and make all of... And the cat says, ow. Okay, so before we get to the true most heartbreaking moment of this episode, the cat was made by the brothers. And the cat wants to know why they left to go make Remnant and everyone else and humanity. Well, if the cat goes to Remnant, they're going to be pretty disappointed because the gods left Remnant as well. So it's almost pointless in a way. Though there's one person besides Ozpin that the cat would find more information from, and that would be Salem. But is the cat going to get that far? We don't know yet. But yeah, the cat says, ow, and we see that brave Little has bit the cat's tail to stop them. Says, "You're not a friend. Friends don't." And of course, the cat swats Little away. The cat hisses. I don't really want to go over this next part. But you can tell that RWBY does not want to see Little get hurt. Of course, here comes Neo running in like, if the wall wasn't already broken, she would run in like the Kool-Aid Man. The cat goes to attack Neo. Like we learn later that it's pretty much like a mouth beam. Which the cat does attack Neo, but Neo, of course, uses her semblance as a decoy and, swats the cat away. It's the one good thing Neo has done this whole entire episode is hit that cat with her umbrella.
And that's why I made the point that wants nothing to do with that cat.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she had come in contact with them in between the times that we hadn't seen and want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Poor Little is pulling at RWBY's fingers with all their might, because it's...
You might want to go through these ones fast then, because It
says, "RWBY, you have to get up. We have to go." And Neo steps on Little. I lost it, okay? I had to pause the video. I was angry. I beat the crap out of my chair. Neo is no longer one of my favorite characters. I'm sorry. This Little did nothing wrong. Little did nothing to Neo. Little had nothing to do with this whole obsession with RWBY and her being mad over Roman. Like, this poor little mouse was just trying to do the right thing. I know what Neo went through in Roman Holiday. I get it. But Neo has no sympathy for me. I don't care what happens to Neo at this point. I'm sorry if you're a Neo fan, but I'm sorry. This little mouse did nothing wrong and did not deserve that. Even if Little reincarnates and comes back, it won't be the Little that we knew. And I'm sorry. That's just... When you hurt animals, whether it's in cartoons, movies, TV shows, I'm done. I'm sorry. I just can't. It's like in movies. We can see people dying in movies and it not bother us, but the moment a dog gets hurt, your heart breaks.
There's shows on TV that I can't watch because animals usually end up hurting. It's just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. So Roman says, "I think it's about time we all got what we deserve. Are you ready to admit the truth that the world would just be better off without you?" Now, of course, RWBY seeing Little die, it's pretty much what everyone probably more than likely was theorizing, that it was the last little bit of hope RWBY had, and that's really the breaking point for her. Thankfully, Weiss, Blake, Yang, and Jean do finally show up. And, Yang's like, "RWBY?" Now, I've already seen people say, why didn't they do anything? They run in, there's RWBY laying on the ground, and Neo standing over her. Well, for one, it's a TV, it's an anime, you know what it is. They're going to draw the scene out for dramatic effect. This is not real time that we are seeing. And... RWBY looks at them. You can definitely see all the light and all that is gone from her eyes. Little is laying there next to her, dead, and she drinks the tea. We see her drinking the tea in Yang's eyes. Yang's eyes widen. She is literally seeing her little sister that she raised do the unthinkable. And then, there's this weird glow. I noticed later that Little glows as well, which is interesting.
It's the colors of the leaves, too.
Yeah, and it opens up, and both RWBY and Little fall into the hole.
I got both colors.
There's a glow. One is red. The other is green.
I did see some rainbow colored in there, but as the transitions, but those were two of the two brightest.
So so let's talk about this real quick. Little is from the Ever After. Little is more than likely going to be reincarnated, but will not be the Little that we knew. RWBY, on the other hand, is not from the Ever After. She's from Remnant. So, we've said many times that Team RWBY needs to be who they need to be to face Salem. Now, in the past, Weiss, Blake, and Yang have already went through their major changes. Weiss went from being the pompous heiress to more of a caring individual. Blake went from being the one that always runs away, who hates herself, to standing by her friends, not running away, finally regaining her happiness, her confidence. Yang went from the happy-go-lucky thrill seeker who keeps all of her emotions bottled up to being more of a serious character. Still scared to give her emotions out. We saw that in her and Blake's confession, but she's stronger now and smarter for going through that. RWBY has never really gotten the chance to go through that. For many years, people criticized RWBY's character for not having any character development. Now, of course, RWBY in Volume 1 to RWBY now is definitely not the same character. RWBY went from being socially awkward to preferring weapons over people to literally making as many friends as she can and being kind of what eventually led her to this, as being like a symbol of hope and all that, which is kind of backfired in this way. Is RWBY dead? In a sense, no. RWBY is not gone. RWBY will come back. She's the main protagonist of the show. She's literally, the name of the team is Team RWBY. Is the RWBY we knew gone? Well, that's hard to say, because up until this point, we have heard like 3 different stories of what Ascension is.
But here's the other thing. That also fits with how the Africans return as well. Like, there's something that the cat did say that still comes to mind. The heart doesn't forget.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what I think,
we don't know how Little's going to come back, but that still keeps coming back to me. The heart doesn't forget.
Yeah.
So that tells me there's a chance that because of that close connection that Little had with RWBY, that may save something there.
Well, I mean, people are thinking Little is either Penny, is Alex, is Lewis, so we're going to see something there. Possibly Summer Rose. Maybe Summer is the one that saves her daughter. There's also the blacksmith that there's got to be more to that blacksmith than just that.
Yeah. And we've learned, obviously the leaf was in that tea, but we've seen the leaves do many things.
Yeah.
Herb used the leaves to help them, which I really believe if the cat didn't interrupt, RWBY would have seen that something more connection would have been there, for RWBY to come out of this. So we know now
the cat interrupted,
yes,
because they were planning this whole entire time to possess RWBY.
But we don't truly know how they come back. I mean, there's the red prince, but who didn't remember Alex.
Here's the thing, though.
There's so many different versions.
We know how it affects Ever Afters. It's easy to say what happened from the Red King to the Red Prince. They were just repurposed. But how does it affect someone who is not from the Ever After? Because we've heard the cat's version, that you won't ascend, But then we hear Jean's version. It's death. You'll be a sacrifice. It wipes your memory. Then we heard the paper pleasers. It's just rebirth. It's not death.
And giving you another purpose. But here's the thing also. What about those beings that haven't fulfilled their purpose that end up going there? Did they just forget everything?
I don't know. But
that's another thing, because Little obviously didn't... They haven't fulfilled their purpose. They were still young. They didn't even have a name until RWBY gave it. So...
You're focusing a little bit much on Little there. We're
You
talking about RWBY.
I know that, but that's still a connection to RWBY, though, because they fell together and they both were glowing that way.
Here's what I think. Can't believe anything the cat says.
No, Herb didn't glow that way, though.
Yeah, I know. Jean... I don't think Jean is hiding anything. I don't think he's a villain like some people thought. But Jean is so far gone right now that we don't... he's like Tom Hanks in Castaway. If he didn't have Juniper the jackalope, he would have Juniper the volleyball at this point. Because Wilson, and all that.
But
I would be more willing to believe the paper pleasers at this point, because they had no reason to lie.
No. John obviously had some truth to his story from his point of view of what he saw.
Yeah, but we don't know how he's paranoid.
I know that, but you get what I mean. Because there was some connections that Jean would say that he had said in his story compared to the paper pleasers, but his was more, I need to protect everybody. So yes, he was far gone. But there was still connections, but the paper pleasers one seems a little more closer to truth than any other version we've heard.
But I think, will RWBY ascend? We don't know yet. We probably won't figure out until episode 9 or even 10 at this point. I do think RWBY's going to get maybe some kind of power up like this. This is literally Goku going to King Kai's to train to fight Vegeta and Nappa at this point. It's definitely going to... I kind of hope they do it. I kind of hope they do the whole shonen trope of Weiss, Blake, Yang, and Jean fighting Neo Cat, and they're getting owned, and then RWBY shows up and it's going to be Goku arriving on Namek all over again.
I would like, cause obviously the cat's goal is to get out and go to Remnant.
Yeah. I kind of hope they do, because I think that would be kind of interesting.
I was kind of hoping instead Little goes.
Yeah,
Cat doesn't.
Well, no. If Little had the choice, I think they would go with RWBY. But I'm talking about the cat actually escaping, not being allowed to.
Well, I get what you mean. But what my theory was is Little gets to go, the cat doesn't, but the cat still would escape to get out. So, and a choice to take with them. That's what I mean.
With his whole heart thing, he could change Salem's heart, and they could change Salem's heart and put Salem under their command. And the cat become the actual main protagonist of the show. I mean...
That would give a new angle there.
Yeah, but, because I've seen that theory as well. But I don't think RWBY will lose her memories, but I do think we may get maybe a more mature RWBY, maybe. Slightly different look, maybe. I know Arnold thinks that maybe RWBY will assume the identity of her mother, because that's who she's always wanted to be. There's also theories that Weiss, Blake, and Yang are going to ascend to try and find RWBY, but my only problem with that is, well, I actually have a couple of problems with that. For one, you can't wipe the memories of all 4 main characters. That would literally make volumes 1 through 8 meaningless. We would have to have 10 more volumes for them to catch back up. Plus, Bumblebee just became canon. I don't think they're going to wipe Blake and Yang's memories and have them start from square one again.
Do you know how terrible that would be to anything?
I know. But also, RWBY is going through an identity crisis. At the point she is now, Weiss, Blake, and Yang can't fix an identity crisis. You're not going to fix that with a hug and let's talk. So... this is something RWBY's going to have to handle herself. But anyway, after that has already happened, we see Neo and Roman is still talking. You finally done it. Little Red's gone. With your semblance stronger than ever now, we could take over this whole absurd place. And she starts shaking her head, and he's like, why not? Offing Little Red can't be all you wanted, right? And we see here that Neo's realizing, and it's that classic story of stories of revenge. She doesn't feel any better. She still has no one. It's not like getting her revenge on RWBY was going to bring Roman back. And really, we finally see Neo vulnerable. Like, she just goes limp. Like, not exactly limp, but she goes almost catatonic in a way. Like, you can literally see all the fight in her go as you watch her eyes. Like, and the place starts crumbling. Like, she's...
I know Roman keeps talking, and she just violently shook her head no. This wasn't what she wanted, and you gotta think also, it didn't help what Cinder kept feeding her too.
Yeah.
So you see,
at the end of the day, all of this is on Cinder, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what Neo did, she shouldn't have done at all.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is hitting her like that, this shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Like, it to me, it seems coming out of that, she's went further than she kind of intended to. But with Roman,
I don't know about that.
In a way, because the thing is with Roman speaking at her like that, it was driving her, but then like as a switch that this wasn't it.
Because I mean, Neo's killed people before.
Yes, but like, I don't think this was the outcome she was thinking was going to happen when she got her revenge.
I don't know about that. It seemed like she was pretty in control for most of it, but I don't know. But anyway, we get a clip. We get a shot of Weiss, Blake, and Yang. Of course, all of them just completely in shock. Yang, as you can see, has literally got to hold on to Blake to even stand. I think this is probably this is the most what's the word I'm looking for? Fragile we've ever seen Yang be, like, other than when she lost her arm. But yeah, Jean closes his eyes, and then here comes the cat, still acting like, all no, says I needed her, and they start, clawing at the vines, and they look at the tree. And, we get a look of, John, Weiss, and Blake also looking out, and Yang's not moving. Yang is completely shocked and maybe even catatonic. And this freaking cat looks over at Neo and gets this, like, evil-looking smile.
Well, Neo's just lost at this point.
Like, completely just not even there anymore. As you can see, the place is falling apart. Once again, Yang is still having to hold on to Blake to even stand. And John says, take us to her. Cat says, you still don't get it, do you? It's not a place you go, it's a place you know. Okay. But no matter, I've actually found a much better solution to my problem. This is where things start to get a bit more creepy. And, of course, they're all, like, Jean, like, is ready to fight this cat, and the cat pretty much barfs on all of them. Not really, but it's a breath attack or whatever. And, what I like here is that since Yang is so out of it, Blake actually protects her here. Blake puts herself in between the blast and Yang. It goes with, we're protecting each other. Blake loves Yang so much. And of course, they all hit the wall. It does not look like it feels good at all. No auras bust, though. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Juniper, of course, saves John from hitting the wall. That's a strong jackalope. I gotta say that. And then this cat grows and turns all white and black, and it is the most sinister looking thing I have ever seen. And and God, this was creepy. There's creepy music, and the cat says, "You've lost something most important, haven't you? And now you have nothing left." Chuckles and says, "How delightful, an empty host, perfect for me to fill." Robbie done such a great job here. But yeah, it's
creepy. And the thing is in my mind, I'm thinking, regardless of what Neo did, I'm just thinking, just move, run, something. I mean...
And Jean screams no and starts running over, and even Juniper looks freaked out. It's like, what is going on? And yeah, the cat literally starts possessing Neo by going into her mouth. And Jean is just...
so close.
Yes, but sadly Jean does not grab the tail in time. And the cat has pretty much taken over Neo. We see that everyone is at least a little bit okay. Yang seems to have recovered a little, like she's not catatonic anymore. She's helping Blake up. And for the first time, we get to see Neo's mouth move and a voice come out, but it's not hers. The rusted knight. Goodness, am I tired of your little sob story. You can't even accept your own fertility. This was creepy. And then they say this body will do. And when they leave, it's pretty much a combination of the cat's like pixelated thing and Neo's semblance, which it really reminds me of like Baby from Dragon Ball GT, like, possessing Vegeta and becoming baby Vegeta in a way. So, it's now Cat Neo or Curious Cat Neo or something like that. And we get a shot of the tree. And then, of course, we get a tribute.
Which we didn't have this at the end of our...
a reaction because we didn't stay long enough. But I hope I pronounced this right. Billy Kometz. I do remember when he passed away. I think the biggest thing I knew him from was that he was Ferdinand in Fire Emblem Three Houses and Three Hopes. Too. Wow, and he was born the same year I was. I believe it's been a while, but I do believe it was cancer.
I think so. It's been a while. I don't remember, but I do remember him passing.
Yeah, which my dad passed away from cancer, so I know what his family went through. It's not a good experience, but he had become the new voice for Roman, and there was a new voice actor in this as well. They kind of went in between, I believe.
It blended so well.
Yeah, I didn't hone in on it in the reaction, but later going back. But yeah, so that was episode 8. A very uncomfortable and very dark episode. So many things could happen. We've only got 2 episodes left. I'm starting to think we're not getting out of the Ever After at the end of this volume. There's just too much. They're stopping the cat if they can. There's getting RWBY back. There's, if we're going to have anything happen with Little, there's them getting out anyway. Like, it just seems like there's so much.
There's the blacksmith.
Yeah.
There's the obvious glimpses of summer.
It seems like there's too much for 2 episodes.
So much, and
I don't know how they're going to fit it all in 2 episodes without it feeling rushed. I don't know if we're leaving the Ever After in this volume. I do not know.
If anything, maybe we'll find a piece of what they need to do to get out,
yeah,
but not actually get out yet. So, I mean,
I don't know. It's
Saturday isn't coming fast enough.
But so yeah, there's several theories out there about what's going to happen with RWBY. Like, RWBY's not going to stay gone. She's going to come back. is Little going to come back? Are we going to see Little? Like I said, I do not think Weiss, Blake, or Yang are going to ascend. I think they're going to at least... They've got to try and stop the cat, because if the cat gets to Remnant, it's bad. Because like some others have said, the cat could maybe even be able to take over Salem. And we don't need that. Would be a very nice secondary antagonist for the show. Like maybe the cat replaces Cinder whenever Cinder meets her end. Who knows? But more than likely the cat won't make it out of the Ever After. But yeah. So yeah, that's some theories going around the fandom. I do like the cat going after Salem. Maybe. I've seen a few people mention that. But yeah, that's our analysis for this very difficult, very heartbreaking episode. I'm hoping it's probably not going to get any better, but hopefully it's not that intense. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button, leave a comment. 2 more episodes to go, and then we're back in hiatus. We do have the RWBY and Justice League movie coming out on the 25th, so we will hopefully get a review out for that at some point. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please subscribe, notification bell, click that like button, leave a comment. As always, guys, this is Kanan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.